Orale Holmes, mi nombre Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare.
Simón que sí, vato loco, Henry Cejudo, aka Triple C.
A Shadow Line production.
And guys, that's all the Spanish I know, but we are back on another episode of Pound for Pound. Henry, interesting card this weekend, my guy. First of all, before we even get into the card, man, how you been? How you been doing? How's that eye doing? How's that eye doing?
Man, honestly, that the one night monster, I'm still feeling it, man. Honestly, Kamaru. But
Pause. Off rip.
if you notice though,
Jeez.
Kamaru, the last three events, there's been eye pokes in the main events too. So it's a trip, dude. When something happens, it kind of just takes like a domino effect with everybody else, dude. But it's doing okay, man. I'm actually in beautiful Hawaii with the family. I'm in the east side of the island, overlooking a beautiful. I have a beachfront property, man. To say the least, it's one of the best homes, if not the best home in all of Hawaii. So
Damn, you balling like that?
pound, thanks to pound for pound, baby. Pound
Hey, don't
for
say that.
pound.
Hey, don't say that. Hey, we need your all the sponsorship. You know, whoever at Netflix, YouTube, Amazon, whoever want to buy us. Hey, we still looking. We'll consider your offers. So don't let whatever Henry's saying, don't let that distract you. Still, come on in. All right, we need you. But Henry, yeah, like you mentioned, okay, you got the good property, you're out there with family. That's great. I mean, you need to decompress after a hard training camp like that, because the training camp is not just hard on you; it's hard on your family as well. Because you know what Mike said. Sometimes you just want to get away from me. I'm training. You be in those modes. You know what I mean? So, hey, I'm happy to hear that you took the family out to kind of rest and rejuvenate a little bit. But Henry, this weekend we've got a UFC fight night live in London, England. We've got Leon Edwards taking on Sean Brady. This is a very good fight. This is an intriguing fight. We're seeing a lot of Henry. I'm seeing a lot of posts, a lot of quotes of Leon saying he's going to do this or that to Sean Brady, which Leon is talented. He's very well has the capability to do some of those things. But for you to say if Bilal can finish Sean Brady, I will be able to finish him too. I think that's I don't know about that, Henry. How you feel about that statement? I don't know about that.
Yeah, I hope Leon Edwards ain't. I hope he just doesn't think it was an off night, man, when he fought Bilal. I mean, it's more to me. It's more of a technical error that he needs to really fix. Which comes down to just him just not reacting to him, just pretty much really nullifying somebody's wrestling. So, and with Sean Brady, man, Sean Brady's been looking so good, Kamaro. I mean, yeah, he did get beat up. It almost, I almost felt like Bilal Muhammad when he did beat him. It's almost like he remind me of like when I beat Marlon Moraes, where you just rip somebody's soul and they never come back the same. But he's been able to prove that he is the real deal. With the win over Calvin Gastelum with submission, I was there for that fight, and then obviously beating Gilbert Burns through unanimous decision. I mean, he's getting a more composed version of what Bilal is, because Sean Brady does mix him, and his jiu-jitsu is no joke, but he's beating guys like Craig Jones, who was one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners in there. I know his top control is absolutely no joke, man. So I just feel like he's got a lot of the momentum is on his side, and I do feel exactly what you were saying with Leon Edwards. It's like him and his coaches. It's not always really good for a coach to get on the media if they're not accustomed to being on the media and then start talking. Yeah, it was an off night, blah blah. Leon just wasn't there. Like it just sounds like too much is being described, too much is being painted, and sometimes that's not good, because you cannot underestimate a guy in Sean Brady, a guy that's very composed, that strikes and is very calculated with his takedowns. And I tell you what, man, his double leg can take down anybody in the world at 170 pounds.
Relax yourself. Relax. I will say this though. There's a difference here and I hope Leon is paying attention to this because there's a difference in styles. There's a difference in the way that guys are able to approach fights. Leon is more of a striking based type of fighter. He's sharp. He's got long weapons, but he's not primarily the initiator. He's not primarily going to go after you and set something up and then land something. He can just throw something on a whim, but for the most part, Leon is more reactive. He's a type of a reactive fighter. And there's a huge difference in the way that we fight. Leon has been, and this is no shade in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but Leon, there's a blueprint to something that to beat a fighter like you, and that's forward pressure. That's the up and downs, the mixing of the wrestling with the striking, the takedowns, continuous takedowns, and or takedown attempts. These are something that throw you off your game, and this is something that has been proven that with time wears you out because yes, you've gotten exponentially better at defending up against the cage. You've gotten better at getting back up once being taken down with the cage. And these are things that you've worked on, and I think that these are things that are great for you, Leon. But that doesn't negate the fact that you do allow yourself to be taken down. Your offensive wrestling is not the greatest, and when you're going up against a guy like Sean Brady, who will continue to attempt, and like you mentioned, Henry, his jiu-jitsu is top tier. Once he gets on top and he's able to control you, he can find that finish. So this is where I find it problematic for that statement of Leon saying, if Bilal is able to finish him, I can finish him as well. That's not the case because like the blueprint that I used when I was fighting Leon, the blueprint that Bilal used when he was fighting Leon, I believe is the blueprint that Sean Brady is going to implement in fighting a guy like Leon Edwards. And if Leon Edwards has changed that game, then I could see Leon Edwards winning. But if he hasn't, I don't see a clear path for victory for him.
Okay, so looking at this fight as a whole, obviously you fought Leon. You've never fought Sean Brady, but how do you break this fight down? Who wins? Come on.
Like I just mentioned, Henry, if Leon has completely changed his approach to the game of accepting the takedown and using the cage to get back up, if you've changed that approach, then I think I can see a world where Leon gets it done. But if you haven't changed the approach, if you're going to approach it the same way that you fought me, the same way that you fought Bilal Muhammad, I don't see where you get it done here because Sean Brady is just going to implement the exact same game plan. Sean Brady's ability to wrestle offensively is greater than Leon's ability to wrestle offensively. So I believe Sean Brady's going to implement that. Of course, hit us with the mixtures, with the up and down, eventually get the takedown, ride out those takedowns, and that has proven to wear Leon out over time. So I see Sean Brady being able to pull this one out. If I had to pick, I would go with Sean Brady.
Wow, wow. Okay, I like that. I'm actually gonna go ahead and go with Sean Brady as well. I think Sean Brady's grappling is just gonna be a little too much for Leon in a 5-round fight, and I think Sean Brady's got he's got that chip on his shoulder, which they both do. But I just feel like Sean Brady's style is gonna be a little more conservative, and I can see him, looking for an arm triangle, like looking for certain things to really nullify this fight, make it boring if he has to, but he will get the victory.
Right. And listen, and this is no shade too. I think Leon is extremely talented and I think Leon has ways to win because Leon is no slouch on his back. Leon is actually he has got pretty good jiu-jitsu. It's just that when you got a heavy grappler, wrestler on top of you, taking you down repeatedly time and time again, it wears you out and this hurts all those submission attempts. But Henry, moving on to the co-main event, this is a fight that has big implications, Henry. You've got Jan Blachowicz, former champion, coming back, taking on Carlos Ulberg. I mean, this is a big fight because if Jan Blachowicz wins here, he's waiting for the winner of Ankalaev and Pereira too. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here. If he wins this fight, he's waiting for the winner of that fight. But if he loses, Ulberg now has thrown himself into that mix to where he could potentially be fighting for that title next. And based on the way that he's looked in his last couple of performances, if Ulberg is able to go out there and get this finish, it's hard to deny he's not next. It's hard to deny that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. I think he's really good. I think he's got a lot of power. Obviously, people were really high, but I remember he lost his debut to a Nigerian going in
Kennedy
there.
Nzechukwu.
Yeah, I
Yes,
tell
he
you what,
did.
man. Yeah, and that Nigerian dude, I became a fan of him because he just took every shot that he could. And he just showed that MMA is just different, you know. And but
Right.
obviously, Carlos has been on a tear. He's been knocking people the hell out. But I just feel like I feel like Jan is just gonna bring in the wrestling and mix the fighting, and he does kick too. And I just feel like the experience is really gonna take over and really show the young buck, what the OGs are all about. So I'm gonna go with Jan Blachowicz.
I like it. And you know what's crazy, Henry, is that Jan Blachowicz just has that style to where, if I had to tell you right now how can you just give us a breakdown of how Jan Blachowicz fights? It's very hard to say this is how he fights. He mixes everything. He can do everything, and it's very difficult to kind of pinpoint it. Like we know Conor's got that in and out style, but Jan Blachowicz can go orthodox. He can go southpaw. Very very heavy hands. Can change levels and get you down to the mat as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
he's one of those
and
guys
he
to where
kicks, and he kicks too.
yes, and he can kick. So, it's a very, very good, very interesting fight. And I think the winner of this fight is definitely next in line for winner of Ankalaev versus Pereira too, whenever that happens.
Yeah,
But Triple C, don't forget, we also got, Molly McCann on this card, she's the hot prospect really on the card. And if Molly McCann can go out there and put on another great performance and potentially another stoppage, I think the UFC starts looking at a top 15, a top 10 for this girl here because Molly's definitely shown that she's wanting to move up. She's wanting to improve in the sport. She's not just a fan favorite that got all that hype or whatnot. She definitely has worked on her grappling and she wants to improve in this sport. So I think if she goes out there and gets a stoppage, I think the UFC is looking to give her a top 10, top 15. What you think?
yeah. No, I think yeah, no, not really, bro. She's got a bunch of L's, dude. I mean, she's got a win in between there. But yeah, man, I don't know too much. I don't know too much about her in that sense, but typically when you go to freaking England, man, they be serving people up tomato cans. So, so will she get the dub? Will she get the dub 100%? But they also got to be tested, man. And I think hopefully Molly can become better on that grappling and mixing the sport of mixed martial arts. 'Cause she is tough, man. She has a lot of grit in her, and excited to see.
But what you say? Every time UFC goes to England, they just serve people tomato cans.
Oh
The
yeah,
English
dude,
fighters.
look at dude. Like,
That
come
what
on,
you say?
Kush.
You
There's a
say
truth.
that's what
There's
you.
a
I
truth,
just want to know
heart,
what you
Kush.
say. I just want to know what you say. So you say UFC serves the English fighters tomato cans every time they go to England.
You know what I'm saying, Kush, man. Sometimes the truth may hurt.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. All in all, pretty good card. A pretty good card. Obviously, no title on the line here, so it's not a pay per view card, but it's going to be a tremendous fight. I think it's early. I'm not sure the time where it is. I think it's a little early, but nonetheless, be tuned in. The UFC Fight Night live from the O2 Arena in London, England. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. But Henry, my man, there's a lot. It's a lot going on in that lightweight division. These dudes is talking. There's a lot of activity. There's a lot of beefs. It's a lot of plexing going on. So, what do you take of this, Henry? You see, obviously Ilya has been teasing. There's going to be an announcement. A fight's going to happen. And also, there's been a little back and forth between the highlight, Justin Gaethje, and Armen Sarukian. So, Henry, I know you love the drama, so you tell me how you been reading through this
Yeah,
drama.
yeah. And first of all, I don't think we got to get Charles on pound for pound because I'm not sure. I'm not. It's crazy because this is what the UFC is quoting, not from Charles, but from
Mm.
Uncle Chell, and they're quoting Charles. So this is
Really?
what they said, and this doesn't sound like Charles Oliveira. I know Uncle Chow, and Uncle Chow he be fucking, he been embellishing. I get it, bro. I do it too. This guy is all talk. If he wants to fight me, he needs to come up and get the belt, put the belt on the line, and I'll talk to him. Charles Oliveira per Chael Sonnen. So that isn't even good. Like you should not be putting Charles' name out there like that because that's against broadcast journalism. Like if
But if he talked to Charles and that's what Charles said, can he not say that?
yeah, but dude, the fucking Uncle Chow has said that. Oh, Henry's coming back like 4 years ago. I'm just like, damn. And then we start texting each other. I was like, good one, Uncle Chow. So so just from experience, bro. I love Uncle Chow, but you know,
So you saying he's a liar?
I'm saying is Uncle Chow knows how to sell a damn story.
All right. So
But
you saying the boys over there at DC, DC and good guy, bad guy be selling the story? Is that what you saying?
100%, 100%. They gotta do
Okay.
what they gotta do. But on the
Okay.
flip side, Justin Gaethje and Armin Sarukian now are trying to get into the Rumble. Obviously, Justin just attacks. He's like, I won my last three out of my last four. Only losing an exhibition fight. Notice how Gaethje's being very and this is good on his side. He's being diplomatic now. And the only reason why he started talking Kamaru, you know why? Because we said it on pound for pound, and immediately when the show came over, he finally wrote out a tweet. So he said I only lose in an exhibition fight. I have to fight for the belt. I am ready. And then obviously here Armin Saruki comes in. He says, you barely got past the number 11th on short notice. And before that, you got sent to the Shadow Realm. If you really want to fight for the belt, you have to go through me first, Armin Sarukian. I mean, I could see that, but Armin Sarukian had his time. I would have loved to have seen him fight Islam Makachev, but that's just not the case, man. Obviously, his back couldn't do it. And but if we're to do a tournament style bracket, I'm gonna say that Justin Gaethje is gonna get this next title shot. I really do feel that. And you know what? That leaves Armin Sarukian. That's probably going to leave Armin Sarukian versus Charles Oliveira again. But we also have to consider too is Michael Chandler versus Patty Pimblett. If Patty Pimblett gets the job done, come on. If he gets the job done, Patty Pimblett could potentially skip that line and go all the way to the front and potentially be the next title challenger. What do you think, man? Am I crazy,
Whoa,
Kush?
whoa, 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 whoa. No, no, no. I think you are a little. That's a little far fetched. If Patty Pimblett gets past Michael Chandler, that does not warrant a title shot. When does not warrant a title shot when Charles Oliveira has gotten past Michael Chandler. Justin Gaethje has gotten past Michael Chandler. So that Dustin Poirier has gotten past Michael Chandler. That does not warrant a title shot. You've got those are just three names right there. And then you've also got Arman Sarukian. You've also, let's not forget, Ilya El Matador Tapuria. So listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I like that first part, what you said. You right now looking at Justin is doing what he needs to do. And that statement, like I said, Justin is such an honest guy. That statement is a very, very honest statement there. Yes, he won 3 of his last 4. I shouldn't have taken the fight versus Max Holloway, but out of love and respect for the UFC and for the UFC fans who want to see violence and who want to see me perform, I took the fight, I took the risk, and that happened. But I've gotten it back. I've gotten back on the horse, and I've showed you guys that I can still be at my best. So if there's no one fighting for the title, I need to fight for the title. And if it's a short notice, Islam is coming back in June, July. That's a short notice fight. Justin Gaethje is ready, and if Ilya Taporia is not going to be that guy, Justin Gaethje is that guy. Now, Henry, if we slide Justin over, I want to say let's play the matchmaker here. Okay? We've got, let's say out of that top 8, let's play the matchmaker here. Let's put the tournament together or which lightweights get to fight for that title. Next, let's go ahead. I'll let you go first. Looking at that top 8 right there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
Where are we
do,
going?
I do. There's something sizzling with Poirier, so it depends. There's two options for Poirier.
But you know what?
It's
And before you go, I think Poirier has stated that he's only got one left. There's no desire to fight for the title anymore because I don't think the company's going to give him another shot at the title. So if he said he only has one fight left, a retirement fight, so we can take him out of that bracket because he deserves a fun fight. We're going to give him a fun fight that he's going to love and that the fans are going to love to
Yeah, I
really
got it.
send him off
Well, may
properly.
I? May I?
So
There's
do your thing.
this is what I'm talking about. There's two options. There is that option with Max Holloway for the BMF. Let's say Poirier does win, he retires the BMF, and maybe the UFC decides to, you know what? Let's just get rid of the BMF and let's just, let's keep it. Let's just keep the UFC title. That's one. The other one, which I feel like is more likely, is going to be Ilia Topuria. So I feel like Islam is going to fight Justin Gaethje sometime in June, July, which I could see an International Fight Week. I do see Ilia Topuria fighting Dustin Poirier, and I just think you do another rematch between Arman Sarukian and Charles Oliveira. So that is my bracket. And obviously, the winner. And the reason why I'm going back to Paddy Pimblett, because you have to remember Kamaru Usman. You're seeing this, and you're 100% right. You're seeing it as a competitor. But bro, that little hair, the little bump that he does, the fact that he could sell, the fact that he's English. Don't make me repeat it again, Kush, before I get canceled. He could swing in there and fight for the title, and particularly if he gets a finish against a guy like Michael Chandler. So I feel like there's everything still puzzle a little bit, but depending on what Patty does, I do feel like he can sneak in there. Maybe not. He can just sneak in there and potentially get that title, man. Just think about it for a minute. They've done it with a lot of people. The UFC is not the Olympics. Let's get that number one. That's the only reason why I'm bringing that stuff up because it's all about entertainer. I mean, how many people have become UFC champions just based on, oh, this guy could sell the fight? Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping, when he became champion, and boom, he happened to land that right hand and ended up winning. And there's so many situations like that have happened. What about, let's go back and talk about Daniel Cormier versus Pat Cummins. Pat Cummins was freaking nobody. Never found the UFC. Was working at Starbucks, and he decided to talk that shit. And guess what? Daniel Cormier accepted it, and eventually ended up fighting. So what I'm saying is, you may think it's far fetched, Kamaru Dean Usman, aka Kamaru White, but this is how it is.
Okay,
You like that? I like
I
Kamaru White. You
I
like
like
that?
I I see where your head's at, Henry, and I don't necessarily completely disagree, but I just wanna kind of re-jog your memory here because some of those things are those were extenuating circumstances for some of those things to take place. For Daniel Cormier lost his opponent last minute. It was late, I think maybe 10 days notice, maybe less than that. No one's willing to take the fight. Pat Cummins steps in. There's a story there. The other situation, Michael Bisping stepping in on last minute notice to fight for the title. Last minute, and I mean less than 10 days, I believe. We can look it up. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but steps in on short notice to take that fight. So another extenuating circumstance. When you're looking at the lightweight, arguably one of the toughest, along with the welterweight, along with the bantamweight, these are arguably some of the toughest divisions right now. It's hard to say the number 13. I believe Paddy Pimblett is ranked, I believe 13th, maybe 12 or 13, something like that.
It's 12.
Who hasn't fought anyone above him. Zero, not one of them. It's hard for you. I don't care how big of a star he is. He's not right now. He's not as big of a star as Ilia Topuria, the champion from the weight class below that just vacated his title to move up into this division and stopped two arguably pound for pound fighters and the best featherweight fighters we've ever seen. He's not a bigger star than them. So if that Ilia Topuria is not getting that title shot next, It's very hard to say that Paddy Pimblett, with the win over Michael Chandler, is going to get that title shot. And not to mention, listen, Michael Chandler ain't no punk. I'm just gonna tell you right now, Michael Chandler ain't no punk. Who was it? Who was it? Someone that said, I think it might have been Luke Thomas. I don't know. I heard an interview of someone saying the lightweights right now are built different. The lightweights of this last generation that are circling through are built different because every time these new school lightweights come up to try to replace them, they knock them down. You've seen it with Dustin Poirier going and did what he did. You're seeing it over and over. And Paddy Pimblett might be that next guy to be able to go in there and try to knock off the lightweights of the old school and potentially not succeed. So I'm sorry, Henry, I don't agree with you. But if I had to put my bracket together, I would have to say Islam is fighting Justin. And after that, if you want to give a fantastic fight for Dustin Poirier, the retirement fight, why don't we do the rematch or the three? I believe it's the third one. Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway. It might be the second or third. I believe it's the third. And then I would do Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira. And then I would probably do winner of Chandler versus Pimblett against Dan Hooker. I would do that.
So
And
where does that leave Ilya?
Ilya Topuria. You know what? Honestly, no. I would say I give Ilya Topuria Dan Hooker.
You would give Ilya Topuria Dan the cheap hookers. You're gonna give him a cheap hooker, huh?
Wow. I would give him Dan Hooker because if there's anyone that could really kind of welcome you to that lightweight division, Dan Hooker can do it. Dan Hooker can do it. And if Ilya Topuria gets past Dan Hooker, oh man, he's on that short list. He's on that short list for sure. He's on that short list. But I also, let me just answer real quick. I hear what Arman Tsarukyan saying. I feel that. But Arman, you were given a shot. You were given the build up. You were given all of the resources. And that's probably why the company is not even looking towards you when it comes to putting you back in that picture, because they built an event around you and Islam. They put a lot of money into promoting that event. They sold that event. But unfortunately, obviously, they had to refund a couple of people who decided they didn't want to watch the event last minute because you couldn't get in it. You couldn't make it. And so I would have to believe that's probably why the company is not as happy with him and they're not throwing him right back in that title picture.
Yeah. Or they could shuffle. I mean, there's a lot of the 155-pound weight division is so good that you can match up any of these guys with each other and it'll all make sense. Like you imagine Ilya versus Charles, or Ilya versus Dustin, or Ilya versus Armin.
You know
I
what?
mean,
You know what? I take that back. Winner of Chandler versus Pimblett takes on Dan Hooker, Ilya Topuria, Mateus Gamrot.
okay, all right. So now you're just throwing fucking hook. Now you're just swinging. Now you're just throwing shit against the wall.
But
Come on, Ricky.
hey. The one thing it's hard we don't see often is Ilya Topuria on his back. Now give him a relentless wrestler who is very successful in that lightweight division. I know not a lot of people talk about him because the style is not so fan friendly, but this guy can make a run at that title. You saw his fight versus Arman. That was back and forth.
Yeah,
Very
no,
close
but
fight.
if he's gonna do that, if he's gonna go against Gamrot, then you might as well go against Armin Tsarukyan. So that doesn't make any sense. But check this out. If Paddy Pimblett does beat Michael Chandler, there is a storyline there with Ilya Topuria, man. You know what I'm saying? That would be a really good fight, and then obviously that fight could
I don't know if I
potentially
want to see
take
that.
place. No, 100%, dude.
I
Everybody,
don't
dude.
want to see that.
That
I
that
don't
fight
want to
would
see that.
do numbers, maybe on the
Of
competitive
course.
side. But dude, we cannot. Kamaru Dean, Kamaru White. We gotta stop. We got to stop doubting Patty Pimblett, man. Like
I'm not doubting Patty Pimblett. I'm not. I'm not doubting Patty
well, it
Pimblett.
sounds like it.
Nah, I'm not doubting him. Patty Pimblett can definitely get it done. When he got it done with with King Green, excuse me, when he got that done, listen, I'm not doubting Patty Pimblett. I'm not. So don't take that away. I'm not doubting him. But for the company's perspective, if we give this guy a shot and this guy goes and becomes the champion, how often can he fight for us if he balloons back up to 215 pounds after a fight?
You know, it'd be a fun fight too. Before we move on, dude, just one last one, dude. You know, it'd be a really fun fight. Would
Talk to
be,
me.
would be Mauricio Hufi versus Ilya Taporia. Just saying. I know he hasn't really walked into the rankings yet, but the style
And
that he's been
let's
doing things, that would
not
be great.
forget. Oh no, no, what? That's you know what? Nope, nope. I like that. I like that. I like that. I like
You
that.
want a striker's dream. That one's it.
You just shook my body up with that one. Because Huffy is a guy that I like very much. So
And what they could do is Huffy, because remember what they could do. This is how the UFC is. If Dustin wants a really good fight, is Mauricio Huffy versus Dustin Poirier. You know, it's the passing
nah,
of the torch. It could be that. It could
that
be something like that. And they will incentivize Dustin Poirier. You know?
I like it. I like it. I like it. Henry White. That worked. I like it. I like it. But moving on, my guy. Hey, Henry, did you see my guy, Mr. McGregor, at the White House?
Conor
Did you
McGregor.
did you see him at the White House?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I actually applaud Connor for that, man. For him to, you know, and he put his president on blast, bro. He was like, he ain't doing shit. Like, you know, he did in the political way, but he was right, man. I think the fact that Conor McGregor's willing to go out there, and this says a lot about the sport of mixed martial arts. The fact that even a guy like President Donald J. Trump is willing to give him the time of day to be able to go out there and see him at the Oval Office. I mean, it must be awesome to be able to do that. Who knows, man? There may be a potential future for if Conor McGregor can get his shit together, that he may have something. He may have a political career, maybe in politics. Obviously, you know, he's got to get them. He's got to really clean those sticky hands of his, you know. But other than that, if he could do that, I mean, he could be a guy that could make a difference, and particularly if your mentor by President Trump, dude. President Trump would do something like that, but I just don't know if Connor really has that IQ or that desire to do it. But the fact that he was willing to go over there, meet at the White House, and speak a little bit, you know, obviously it was St. Patrick's Day. It's not like President Trump really needs to hear from him, but Conor McGregor does want to make a difference in Ireland because Ireland's economy is bad, bro. Like it is bad, man. Crime has risen, and not just that, but even immigration, bro. It's like it's almost like the Irish people. I feel like they're becoming the minority. You know, and I'm not saying like you shouldn't allow people in, you know, because obviously both myself and you, Kamaro, like you know, but it was our parents and you guys, you know, we came to this country, you know, at a certain time, but there's that certain time where you gotta kind of like, all right, man, let's pump the brakes on things, and I feel like Connor is seeing that in Ireland. He's trying to make a difference, and kudos to him, dude.
Well, did you see the first of all the walk? Did you see that walk of him walking out?
Oh yeah, he did a strut.
That's Happy Sunny Day, America. That I don't know if that walk is very politician esque. That's very. I think. I think. Yeah. Listen. Anybody can be anything that they want to do in this life. That's a proven thing. And if Conor could clean up himself and clean up kind of some of the things, because when you are a politician now, you're not just for yourself. You're actually for the people, not just for yourself and your family, but for the people. So I think there's a lot of things that he needs to clean up there. But I think anybody can be anything. But this meme was I'll I would say let's read this, and I'll let you tell me what you think. To Mr. President Trump and the American people, I come to you today with information on a dangerous terrorist syndicate located in Makhachkala, Dagestan. The U.S. the U.S. response should be rapid and furious in exterminating this threat. What do you
That's
think he's
funny.
talking about? What do you think he's talking about?
Yeah, no, for sure, man. But I mean, it is what it is. Did you see that? Did you see that kid? He's going viral. I'm not sure if he's.
Hey,
I think he's
hey,
Spaniard.
send him 2 3 years Dagestan and forget.
That's funny, dude.
One
But in
time,
other
six
news, let's move
months.
on,
You
Kush,
could
because
call him.
Conor
Oh,
McGregor doesn't deserve too much of my damn time. I'm in beautiful Hawaii.
yeah, but yeah, Henry, I wanted to talk about something real quick. Hit on it because yeah, there's been a lot. We've got really quick, a couple of fights that are coming up. The in the works, hasn't been announced yet. Marab versus O'Malley 2 is rumored to potentially be finalized. I think that's something that could happen later this year, maybe in the East Coast. Because usually O'Malley does really well in that region. I think that's a fight that could happen there. Also, don't forget Sanhagen taking on Figgy in Des Moines, Iowa, May 3rd. I mean, I feel like we've been waiting for this. I know Corey Sanhagen has been waiting for this, and he is excited, and he's been putting the time in. And so I know that's gonna be a big one. Des Moines, Iowa gets another big card. So
And then this
I
is the main
like it.
event. This is the main event, right?
This is the main event. Yeah,
Ah,
it's the main
God,
event.
man. If Corey really knew how to fucking talk, dude, like if he really knew how to sell his shit, like, dude, Corey's a tough matchup for Marab, dude. With those knees up the middle, like he could have really snuck in there, but he just doesn't. He doesn't get the game. He doesn't. He gets the game when it comes to the technical and the fighting aspect of it. But if he was to understand more of the shit talking game to actually get in there, I think the UFC would actually grant him because he does have an exciting style of fighting, but he's going up against the God of War, man, and the person that I'm super close to.
So yeah,
Um,
so who you picking then?
Shit.
Who
I
you
don't. I
picking
don't.
then?
This would be the last fight that I would want to give Davidson. Let's put it to you that way. But
Who you picking then? What's up?
the God of War. I mean, he's gonna have to connect. He's gonna have to punch. He's gonna have to connect or take his back, dude. If he could do the same thing that Aljamain did to Sandhagen and Davis's back take is really really good, man. He's well rounded too. When it gets closer, man, I'll be able to make my prediction. But as of right now. It is what it is. But the fight that is rumored to happen, and again, I go back to entertainment after getting 50-45 this and never losing his ranking, Sean O'Malley and Marab are scheduled to fight again. I mean, do you feel like and be real. Do you feel like O'Malley deserves a rematch against Marab Davalishvili?
Sean
After
O'Malley,
after
I
getting
honestly
50-45, you tell me.
honestly that I okay
Or would you rather
being
give it
I'm
to
gonna be I'm
Sanhagen?
gonna be I'm gonna be honest. Personally, from the outside looking in, I would have given the fight to Sanhagen or Peter Yan. Either one of those guys, I would have given the fight to. But I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. Maybe there's something that the UFC knows that we didn't know. Because sometimes a fighter could be dealing with something very enormous, but because the card is already built around them, they have to risk it all to go in there and try to still. Because, yeah, now there's a lot of money that's been put into promoting that fight and promoting you in that fight. So to let the company down would cost them a lot of money. And we know the company doesn't like that. So I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. So I'm not going to speak for that. But me personally, I would have given it to either Peter Yan or Corey Sanhagen. That's just my 2 cents. But the rematch, nonetheless, is rumored to potentially happen again. And, it's tough here. It's tough to see a change in what happens, especially with the newfound confidence that the champion Merab Dvalishvili is going to be feeling right now after not just being a grappler, not just being a wrestler. Now you can see he has the striking down as well, because being able to go out there 5 rounds with Umar Nurmagomedov and get the win, I think puts him in a whole another stratosphere in how he's feeling about himself and his confidence. So I really don't. It's a tough one to call.
Yeah, no, it's 100% no. It should be Sandhagen, but this is what I'm telling you, man. Sandhagen doesn't get the game, dude. And Sandhagen's a dangerous fight for anybody. Anybody
Anybody.
135 pounds, he's dangerous. But if he wasn't, if his IQ, I mean, if his fucking marketing IQ wasn't so low, he'd probably be next. But it is what it is, dude. I mean, there's a bunch of fights at 135 pounds that are just bangers, dude. It's like 135, dude, is the hottest weight division, dude, the most competitive weight division in all of the UFC, in my opinion.
It would be, you know, no
So,
shade. No shade. But Henry, that don't forget that's the fight night going down this weekend. Leon Edwards taking on Sean Brady. It's going to be a fun one. And we'll look to see who someone's going to elevate themselves into that title picture with the welterweights. But, there's always talk, this guy's talking about this guy's talking about that guy. Who cares? Who cares? Today, smash. Okay? So, it is what it is, Henry. But I'm going to be tuned in. You're going to be tuned in. There's going to be a lot of news coming up. And of course, we're going to break down some of these cards as we get closer and closer to them. But Henry, that's it for me. As always, I am the Nigerian Nightmare. I almost cramped. Damn it.
okay. Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C. I feel like flashing you, Kamaru.
Pause. Jeez. And we are out on that note.